One of the most dangerous things that Americans face every single day is getting onto the roads. It's slightly more dangerous than eating processed foods, and it is a deadly one for many dozens of Americans every single day. Now, our federal government and a bunch of states have decided to not only make matters worse on the roads, but to make things infinitely worse. They have begun handing out free CDLs, or commercial driver's licenses, and free driver's licenses to people who are not registered to be in the United States based on the claim that they make that they used to have a license in their home country. Now, this has gotten to be absolutely insane, friends. We're going to go down this rabbit hole a little bit. We're going to show you some numbers here, and you won't believe what you're hearing, because this I'm still reeling with this. That this has got to be impossible, and yet it isn't. We're looking at the numbers here now, and CDLs are being handed out like candy. And it is resulting in many deaths. People who have not been trained and who do not speak English driving large trucks on American highways and American roads. This is a massive problem and could impact you or your family. I want to give you a list of the states that have been confirmed and states that are suspected to be doing this. We're going to tell you where this came from and what kind of numbers we could be looking at. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and that's why we dive into some numbers and into the raw data and let you guys decide what you make of it yourselves. All right. This is something you will not hear on the mainstream media. This is something that is percolating in the background with channels like this, as well as news bloggers and such out there. All right, so we're starting to get this, that there's been a shocking increase in the numbers of CDL licenses issued just since 2022, 2023, and 2024. We don't have our 2025 numbers yet, but overall, across the United States, we were averaging about, let me just pull this up here. In 2016, 166,000 licenses issued. 2017, 129. Next year, 132. Next year, 135. And then suddenly, 261. Wait, what? That's kind of a different number. And we'll get into where that number came from. The next year, 463,000 new CDLs issued. We were in the 130s. 130,000 each year. And then boom, 460,000? What in the world? We got 262, so it didn't even come back down all that much. And then just last year, 406,000. Where are all these CDLs being issued? And the answer is, they're coming from certain states. These 10 states, so we have the confirmed states. 5 of these states are confirmed to have issued. We're going to be talking about this, but non-domicile CDLs. This is a CDL that's issued to somebody based on their recollection, and we're going to find out how these people are doing this. And if you're like, gee, I wonder if it's a bunch of USAID money that's been funneled into NGOs who are then coaching these people to say the right things. See, do you need to watch this video anymore? Because that's what's happening. We're going to give you the receipts, though. These 5 states that are confirmed, where we have actual images of driver's licenses of non-domiciled residents getting CDLs, And then when we look at these numbers, statistically speaking, it looks like 5 other states are also doing the exact same thing. And why that is, I'll tell you what. All right. So Kentucky. Let's go up the years of how many CDLs they issue per year. Kentucky, 911, 1,285. Wait until you hear a number that sounds a little bit different. 981, 1,148, 1,164, 1,775, 1,859. You haven't heard a number that's weird yet. 1,545. And then the next year, 53,686. Now, if you're like, wait a minute, isn't that like more CDLs than they've issued over the last 40 years? And I'd be like, yeah, it is. So in 1 year, they issued more CDLs than they did in 40 years. Something seems a little off there. Nevada, 480, 822 the next year, 1,290, 1,400, 1,100, 1,200, 1,400, 1,000, and then 81,000. Whoa! That's more than like the last 70 years. Puerto Rico magically came up with some new CDLs. They're issuing 250, 140, 100, 300, 300, 600, 500, 300, then 26,000. Now, at this point, you're probably going, did somebody like do an adjustment to the data set? Did somebody punch in the wrong number? Let's listen to California. 16,000, 17,000, 18,000, 21,000, 21,000, 125,000. 6 times higher than an average? Yeah, I mean, but listen, keeps going. They were one of the pilot programs. Next year, 19,000. So that's back to where it should be, sort of. 16,000, then 49,000. Not one big bump, but a bump, then another bump. Florida had 109,000. And that was years ago, and then they had this boost after that. These numbers are absolutely squirrely, and these are coming from Labor Department numbers. We're seeing this impacted in Texas, California, Florida, Illinois, Minnesota, New York, Oregon, South Carolina, Kentucky, Nevada, and Puerto Rico. When you combine these states and compare them to other states, the other 40 plus states, we are seeing a 3.6 times increase in these states over the others. So if this was like just, a spike in interest across the United States, and these numbers don't even make sense. 100,000 new CDLs issued in a year, like in California and Texas. What in the world is even going on there? These numbers just don't even make sense. But we're seeing these numbers from the Labor Department. We're combining these with numbers that we're hearing from the trucking companies and trucking watchdog groups. And they're saying 79% increase overall in truck driver CDL issuance. So this is happening, friends. The Biden-Harris administration was out there not only not hiding this, but they were announcing their initiatives to reduce red tape and barriers to drivers getting CDL licenses, which sounds good. Yeah, okay, we should make it easier for truck drivers to get their CDLs renewed and issued, right? Well, they didn't mean all truck drivers. They just meant some kinds of truck drivers. People who may not have ever driven a truck should have no barriers whatsoever to driving a truck, whereas American truck drivers should have the normal number of insane barriers that they have to jump over. Things like federal laws that CDL drivers have to be able to speak English. We're seeing truck drivers being taken away from accidents and accident scenes. I want to say crime scenes, and they really are crime scenes. And these truck drivers can't speak English, which is a violation of federal law. And yet we have these states, the confirmed states that we're dealing with here are states of Pennsylvania, Illinois, New York, Texas, and California. These are confirmed states where watchdog groups have already coughed up the driver's licenses, and some of these driver's licenses don't even have names on them. How do you get a CDL license with no name given as your last name? It's absolutely mind-boggling that we're even talking about these types of things. But we have these driver's licenses showing up. We have accidents where with fatalities and injuries. We're seeing a massive surge in truck-related injuries and fatalities over the last 10 years. Almost an 80% surge in fatalities related to trucks on American roads. Here's a question for you. How many Americans have been killed by Houthis? And yet the United States is out over there spending $1 billion bombing these people back into the sand. They've killed no Americans. They've killed no Americans, and yet somehow it's America's obligation to go all the way around the world and to bomb the sand people. But when it comes back to the United States, our own government is paying money to hand out free CDLs to people who are not qualified to drive those trucks. Many of them don't have experience driving those trucks. These non-domiciled CDLs can't get you on an airplane. Okay? You're not allowed to go past TSA with one of these IDs. And yet somehow you can get behind the wheel of a big rig and go barreling down the road in a truck loaded up with logs. How does that make sense? How does that make any sense whatsoever? Here's the states. This is another source here. States that non-citizens can get commercial driver's licenses. So you're not a citizen of the United States, but yet you can get a CDL here in the U.S. Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, Hawaii, Minnesota, Illinois, Virginia, Maryland, D.C., Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, and New York. Don't have documentation? No problem. We can get you a CDL. Even if you do have documentation, okay, well then that makes it even easier. We've been told, hey, here's another report here. New York has been letting others from other places cheat on permit tests for years. Translators are paid by the applicants to tell them what boxes to check. What? They're getting translators who know how to beat the test. Don't know where it goes from there. Never understood how these folks can get regular license without even being able to read the road signs. Well, that's how. That's for regular drivers. That is also for CDLs. We've talked a little bit about regular drivers being on the roads that do not have the skills, do not have the knowledge of how to operate motor vehicles inside the United States, and yet they're getting regular licenses. But now the shocking truth for me that I am now finding out about, and maybe you're just finding about this too, is that they're like, no, they shouldn't just drive cars. They should be able to drive big rigs and buses and stuff. Now, I know driving passengers requires additional, steps. And I know driving chemicals takes some additional steps. But I don't know. Maybe even in those states, they can get issued those certificates as well. Even with licenses that say no name given as their last name. Absolutely insane, friends. What we're seeing, our whole country is imploding in real time. And hopefully we can get this thing turned around. Hopefully with the tariffs, hopefully with the laws coming out of D.C. and DOGE and some of the states starting to stand up. Hopefully we can turn these things back, turn the dial back a few years, because we are dangling over the ledge. And it feels like there's only a couple strands holding us back up the cliff. So let me know in the comments down below if this is the first you're hearing about this, about the CDLs. And I imagine you're upset, because I'm upset. I'm thinking about how dangerous does that mean the roads are these days. I haven't been driving too much because I haven't needed to, but a lot of you guys are on the roads for hours a day, every day. Some of you are truck drivers, and you're spending the majority of your day out there. I've heard from a lot of you guys that the roads have gotten a lot more dangerous and a lot more crazy, that there are a lot more drivers out there who don't even seem to know what they're doing. Let me know if you're seeing that as well, okay? Is this the first you're hearing about this? Are you seeing this as well? And yeah, let me know your thoughts about that. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.